Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the second night of Soul Fidelity. My name is Jones, and once again, I am excited to be here. And I'll give you a minute to actually get situated, have those come into the room, and ready to get started tonight. This evening, we are going to be talking about energy alignment, aligning your energy. And it's a welcome to the second night. So, Jones, and once again, I'm excited to be here. So, anyway, we're going to get started again. My name is Dr. Atiya Jones. I am a metaphysician, and we talked about that briefly last night. What I didn't let you know last night is I'm also a Reiki master and practitioner, and I am a Kundalini yoga teacher. Kundalini is like the mother of yoga, and there are a lot of different aspects of Kundalini yoga. But tonight, we're going to be talking about energy alignment. Now, when we talk about energy alignment, we are talking about aligning your energy with the universe and vibrating on the same frequency, or I guess a better way to say it is energy alignment, lining up with the universal language or the universe language, and understanding how to speak and be clear on what the universe is saying to you. And universe, when you look at the word in itself, it's one language, une meaning one, and verse meaning language. That's about learning to speak to the universe and learning to be clear on what the universe is saying to you. And there's messages we mentioned last night, there's signposts that the universe gives you, but there's a language that is spoken, and learning to comprehend that. So one of the things that's important to do, every single thing is energy. And when you look at everything as energy, then you'll begin to look at things in a different perspective. Money is energy. Every single thing around you you see is energy, your energy. The chair's energy, the table's energy, every single thing is energy. And so as you begin to start looking at every single thing around you as energy, then you'll start thinking a certain kind of way. So what's important to do when you're getting into an energetic alignment, you have to first, when you look at everything as energy, you have to also assess how your particular energy moves. We all have a level in which we vibrate. Our energy is unique in that our own personal energy will move a certain way. And it's important to learn and be clear on how your energy moves in connection to the universe and everything else around you. The other thing that's important is to tap into your own healing power. All of us have a very special gift, and you have a healing power within yourself, and it's learning to tap into that healing power. Now, the interesting thing about energy, and I know one of the people last night, good evening, good evening, thank you for joining me. One of the people last night that came on, they wanted me to talk about the chakras. So I'm going to touch on those briefly. I don't want to get into a lot. I want this to be as simple as possible. When you talk about energy, when you talk about the universe, it's so vast, and there's so many things to talk about and so many things to cover. But I want to keep it very, 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 very basic and very simplistic. And on my particular soul journey, that's something important for me to do. And so I want to stick to making it so fundamental that even a fourth grader or a third grader can understand. But the energy in your body moves throughout your body like a figure eight. And some of you who are familiar with the infinity symbol will kind of make that connection. But interestingly enough, blood also moves through your system, through your body in a figure eight as well. And then if you start to go look at the DNA, and you'll begin to see a pattern in the universe. Again, there's a universal language. Now, even though energy flows through your body in a figure eight, there are times and circumstances or situations where the flow of energy becomes retarded and there become blockages in your system. And some of those situations may be conflict, it may be loss or grief, you may have anxiety, anger, fear, stress. So all of these things could cause or obstruct the flow of energy in your body. Now, within our bodies are at least 7 major energy centers. A lot of people recognize them as chakras. And a lot of times people think that there's only 7. There are actually more. Your body has way more than seven chakras, but there are 7 major chakras or energy centers in your body. And if you start here, would be the crown chakra. And then you will have the ajna or the third eye, which is here. You'll have the throat chakra. You'll have the heart chakra. You'll have the solar plexus here. You'll have the sacral chakra, and then your root chakra. And each of these areas are energy centers where the energy is very, very dense, which means it's thick. And a chakra, the Sanskrit term chakra is basically means wheel. And what a chakra is like this wheel of energy, or it's like a vortex, like a wheel of energy that spins, that goes like this, and it goes through your body. And these chakras are like vortex, like powerhouses that each corresponds with a level of consciousness. Now, I want to stay on task tonight, so if I get questions, please ask your questions. But I actually jotted down an outline on what I wanted to cover, and I wanted to be sure to stay on task because last night there were a lot of comments and a lot of questions, and I really, really don't want to lose my point tonight, because when you're talking about energy and alignment, it is such a very, very crucial conversation to have. And I want to make sure that I get down the points that I wanted to at least talk about in this session. I want to go back for a moment, though, and talk about Soul Fidelity, because this is a Soul Fidelity show. This is the second day of 3 days. And Soul Fidelity is about being faithful to your soul's calling. And we talked a lot about Soul Fidelity yesterday and how you had a soul contract. So when you were born into this space, in this realm, during this time or season, you had an agreement of what you would do when you came into this existence, in this incarnation. And we talked a lot about that yesterday. And this is just basically tying in, because here you are now being born. You had a contract of something that you were going to do. And so Soul Fidelity now is being true to that contract. And the conversation tonight deals with energy, but it's also the spiritual power when you it's the spiritual power. When you talk about the energy centers, they hold massive power. And so I want to really get into it. In Kundalini yoga, there are what is referred to as the 10 bodies of Kundalini yoga, and the 11th being embodiment. I'm not going to go through all of the names of what those 10 bodies are, but I'm mentioning them because there's 3 of those 10 bodies that are said to constitute human existence. And when we talk about energy and energy alignment, those 3 bodies become very relevant. And these 3 bodies are the physical, or what is called the gross body, and that's the human vehicle itself. And then you have the causal body, that's where energy imprints of memory. It's said to be the temple of the soul. And then you have the subtle body, which is the subtle body gives perceptive ability to be able to perceive the to be able to sense the infinite within the physical and the material plane. And when you talk about the subtle bodies, this is where now you can get into the conversation talking about the chakras and energy alignment and so forth. So in the 10 bodies of Kundalini yoga, there's a physical body, there's 3 mental bodies, and then there's 6 energy bodies. Like I said, we're not going to get into all of that because we will be here all night. And then it's such a vast subject matter to talk about energy on that level. But the main thing that we want to talk about is how does one align their energy? How do you align your energy with the universe? And I briefly hit on it last night, but it's love. Love is the most creative force in the universe. It is the highest vibration that there is. And when you talk about energy alignment, in essence, you're talking about spiritual alignment. And the chakras are like spiritual powerhouses as well. So now, how do you get into alignment? How do you get your energy into alignment? One of the first things to do is to live in the moment. Speak in the moment. Speak present tense. Be clear on the power of now. Because living in the moment means that you're taking advantage of every single moment. And when you align your energy with that of the universe is speaking to you at every moment. And it's learning to hear and be aware of what's being spoken. The second thing in terms of aligning your energy with that of the universe is to take care of your body. That's so key. So many of us abuse ourselves, abuse each other, abuse our bodies. You have to take care of yourself. That speaks volumes. That sends a message out to the universe that you care. You're treating this as a temple. And when you take care of your physical body, when you take care of yourself, you're basically meeting the universe halfway. You're saying, hey, I'm going to take steps toward you. So how do you take care of your body? You want to bathe it daily. And it's really important to, I mean, I know that's so simple, but sometimes you have to tell people to take a bath. And not only just take a bath, the process of taking a bath, it cleanses, it washes away negative energy. It helps take you through a cleansing process that is amazing. Also, what you put in your body's your temple. Don't just eat anything and everything. I've heard some people who do energy work talking about, I eat anything. But when you are truly, truly serious about mastering the gift that you have, it's not enough just to eat anything. You have to eat things that's going to help keep your physical body at its ultimate, which eventually or ultimately will impact your energetic body or that subtle body as well. Gratitude, being grateful and thankful for everything. Sometimes people focus on what they don't have or what they need. And what I tell people that I work with, or when I speak to groups of people, or even one on one, you have every single thing that you need in this moment in time to do what it is that you were called to do. And at any given time, there is something else that is needed. The universe will bring it to you in that moment. But you got to live in the moment, you take care of yourself, and practice gratitude. Rather than focus on what you don't have, focus on what you actually do have and be grateful for that and celebrate those things. Learn to say thank you to the universe, even for the most simplest of things that come your way. If you happen to be walking along a pavement, and this has happened to me a lot of times, and I'm sure that there's someone out there that this has happened to as well, but you can be walking along a big block of concrete, but yet there's a crack in the concrete, and coming up through that crack, you might see a flower or a blade of grass. That's something to be thankful for. There was one time that I was driving down the highway when I was in the States, and immediately when I was driving down the highway, I heard this pop in the car, and I thought that the tire had popped. And so what happened is we had to pull over, and we got out of the car, and right at the moment where the car was able to stop and we pulled over, right there in front was a tiny ant hill. And I had never seen anything like it in my life, but the ants were carrying, they say that ants can carry several times the weight of their own physical body. And what's interesting is they weren't just carrying little grains of sand. These ants were carrying little sticks and little stones, building their house. And it was the most peculiar thing that I had ever seen at that time. But all the ants were busy just building away. It didn't matter what was going on around. They just remained busy, working together, building, building, building. And they were picking up stones and little sticks. And then when I looked at the tire, there was absolutely nothing wrong with the tire. And then when we got back in the car, what came on the radio was something that was very specific and significant for that particular moment. And then that's an example of the universe actually communicating, being in that moment, but then being grateful, not upset that, we can't make it to our destination in time, or darn, I have a flat tire or something happened to my tire, but being grateful for the experience to be able to look at something that's seemingly so insignificant, but actually turned out to be very significant and very encouraging, that no matter what's going on in your life, keep working, keep doing what it is that you were called to do. And then another thing to help you align your energy with that of the universe is to embrace your gifts. Now, there are some people out there that have no idea what their gifts are. And if you are one of those people, I'm going to encourage you right now to go get a mirror and look at yourself. And look very deeply at yourself and look deeply into yourself, because you have a gift. You have at least one gift, because You didn't just come into this space or in this incarnation, and you didn't just make a soul contract and then come into this realm and not be equipped. That equip or the tool that you were given was a gift. Let's see. In our pain, someone writes, in our pain, it's hard to be grateful as we tend to focus on our problem than the solution. How do we avoid falling into that trap? That's a very familiar question. Well, first of all, when you practice gratefulness, let me say this. A lot of times people look at the problem as outside of themselves. And when a person looks at the problem outside of themselves, invariably, you also look at the solution outside of yourself. The minute you take the position that the problem is outside of you, you also basically say to the universe that the solution is outside of you as well. But if you begin to take responsibility for the problems that you have, for the pain, for the hurt, and it's important to acknowledge the pain. There's nothing wrong with the pain, but let the pain be a lesson. Let the hurt be a lesson. Acknowledge it and allow yourself to feel that pain. Allow yourself to feel the hurt, because it's difficult to heal something that you can't feel. So basically, yes. And what I'm saying is take back the power. But first of all, recognize that you're the problem. Anything around you that's happening around you, in your environment, in your sphere, you're the problem. You caused it. So that means if you're the problem, then you're taking back your power and you're saying, since I'm the problem is within me, so is the solution. And when you take that attitude, and then you're grateful and thank the universe for the circumstances, because for every problem, it's really not truly a problem. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to heal. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to go to the next level of consciousness. It's an opportunity to become enlightened. And so taking back your power and taking responsibility that, you know what? The problem is within me, and so is the solution. And when you take that attitude on, you will begin to make the necessary changes in your life, and you'll see phenomenal results. So when you say it's hard to be grateful, it's practice thanking the universe for things. And the more you thank the universe, the more the spirit of gratefulness will come into your heart. Isn't that a hard thing to accept for one with either a broken heart or a situation where a person may have been abused, for example? That's a very, very good point. And this goes back to energy alignment, because when I talked about the different chakras very briefly, I just named them. I didn't go into a lot of the particulars with the chakras, but let's take the heart, because you mentioned a broken heart. So you're dealing with something when you're holding on to pain of the past and so forth, you're dealing with the heart chakra. And there has to be a process of releasing that and letting it go. And one of the biggest tools for letting that go is to allow yourself, first of all, to feel the pain. And if you happen to be a person who has experienced physical abuse or emotional abuse or verbal abuse, that's not your fault. And I want to say that. That's circumstances. But you can release that because you are not a victim. I want you to listen to me. You are not a victim. I'm going to say that again. You are not a victim. But it's important to release that. And there are different things that you can do to release that. And I'm going to invite you to email me. For the person who mentioned that, please, I would like for you to email me at Dr. Atiya at dratiyajones.com. and that's DRATIYA. I would love to talk to you one-on-one because I can actually help you to help take you through a process where we can work on healing and balancing out the heart chakra as well as the root chakra and so forth in that case. Should they accept that it is their fault? No, I did. I cleared that up already. It is not their fault. But what I do want to say about that is you're not a victim. And so when you take responsibility of this happened in my life, there is something in my sphere or in my karma or a karmic debt that has brought this about. When you accept that, then you can also take control of that. I don't recommend anyone to stay in an abusive situation. And if you are, again, I want you to email me. I would like to have a personal conversation with you and talk with you personally about those issues of abuse, because that's a very sensitive matter. And in this forum, I don't want to give a blanket statement. I want to give more attention if you're in an abusive situation and to help you through that more on a one-to-one basis. Karmic debt. Karmic debt is, I just got a question from someone asking about what is karmic debt. Karmic debt is That's a very good question. And I want to make it as simple as possible without saying good, evil, what have you. When you do things that are, I don't like the term good, bad, or whatever, but when you do something that is loving, that's like in your emotional bank account as a deposit. When you do something that is fear-based or causes harm or out of alignment, that becomes a debt. And throughout several incarnations, we burn up karmic debt. And in this incarnation, some of the situations that we're faced within our life is part of karma, whether it's from past lifetimes. Maybe we have been people who have caused harm to people. Maybe we've lived a certain, not the best type of life in the past. And then maybe in this lifetime, we are burning up karmic debt. So that's what it is. And then through many lifetimes, we're reconciling the karmic debt until eventually we won't incarnate any longer. I want to get back on energy alignment. I talked about the ways to align your energy with the universe. I talked about living in the moment. I've talked about taking care of your body. I talked about gratitude, saying thank you to the universe. And then I started to open up the conversation on embracing your gifts. We all have gifts, and it doesn't bring you closer to your destiny to bury your gift and not focus on it. And there are some people out there that has no idea what their gift is. And like I said, go get a mirror, look in the mirror, look at yourself, and then also look through yourself and begin to step back from the chaos of everything that might be going on around you so that you can look internally. And one of the hardest things to do is to look at self. But that's the only way that we grow, is if we look at self, because the answers are within. The answers that we're looking for are not always outside, they're within us. And so it's important to take the time to look within. And then the next thing is to ask for guidance. Ask the universe for guidance. The universe is here to guide you throughout the whole of your journey. Ask for guidance. And the way you can ask is you can say to whatever you call the universe, whether you call God, whether you call it Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever, the one, ask the universe, talk to the universe. Dear universe, I'm asking you to give me guidance about whatever the situation is that you need guidance on. And then you say, Why you need the guidance? Because be very, very, very specific. And then once you ask for the guidance, visualize the end result or how that guidance is going to come about. Visualize that it's happened and then let it go. And know and believe that it'll happen. Envision what will happen and then trust that it will be delivered to you. And that's very, very important. So those are the ways that you can align your energy with the universe. And I'll repeat them again. Live in the moment, take care of your physical body, practice gratitude. That's a big one. Practice gratitude, being thankful, embrace your gifts, and asking for guidance. And don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. For those of you who can recall riding a bike, when you first started riding a bike, you might have fallen off a couple times, or maybe you started out with training wheels on. And then when you had the training wheels taken off, you may have wobbled a little bit or you fell off the bike. Does that mean you stop? No. You pick it up, you get back on, and you try again. And you continue on until you become a master at riding the bike. That's the same thing. In life, there may be many failures, but having many failures or falling down many times, just get back up. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means you have to get up and go again. And that's very, very important. When you talk about getting into alignment with the universe, that universal flow, you have to be willing to allow the universe in. That's a big one. You have to allow the universe in. If you don't let the universe in, how do you expect the universe to serve you in the way that it's here to serve you? So you have to let it in. Yesterday, I started to talk about something and I wanted to hit on it. And I think now is the time to hit on it. I started yesterday to talk about how there's different posts that, particularly in certain communities, there's posts that goes out on Facebook. And it's such negative vibrations. And that's when I had started talking yesterday about how I don't watch the news or read the newspaper. And it's funny because you can go without watching the news or even reading the newspaper, and you'll still get the information that you need to get. It just allows me to protect my energy, protect my sphere, and to be able to keep joy in my heart and keep my vibrations up. But a lot of times people perpetuate negative energy. And a lot of times the information is not even true. It's rumors, it's falsehood, and people are just passing on falsehood. I get a lot of things, well, I used to, I don't anymore. And thank you, people out there for getting the message, not to send me violent stuff in my inbox, not to send me horrible videos to watch where people are getting beat down by the police and all of that. Not that I don't care. I want to make that very, very, very clear. My calling and how I help is I can help heal those situations, but I don't have to see the graphic videos or the graphicness of these things. I can help heal it, but I don't have to see the graphic aspect of it. And a lot of times people on Facebook and other social media have no filters. And it's so very important because you never know who's watching, you never know who's listening. Now, there are people out there that I've worked with that is their calling. And that's their gift to be able to deal with those types of things. I'm an intuit, I'm an empath, and I'm very, very, very sensitive. And so I try to keep my vibrations very high, energetically very high, so that I can be of a better service to you, and so that I can be a more clear vessel. But I wanted to talk about that. And also, I wanted to bring up the issue of when we talk about the problems and the solution, a lot of times people perpetuate the problem, but they're not bringing forth a solution. They talk about the problem, but they don't talk about the solution. And so, even though it's important, I know one of the things, and I used to say this myself, is you have to continue to teach people the history, because if you don't, it's doomed to be repeated. You have to remind people that this happened, i.e., slavery, i.e., racism, i.e., all the different things that's happening. But when you vibrate in the spirit of love, love will burn all of that up and you just rise above that. And a big practice is the practice of forgiveness. And that's so key. And I heard one of the pastors online talk about, he was so frustrated about something that had happened to him. And it was very interesting, and it was very good to have that information. And he talked about boycotting this particular pilot gas station or some gas station. And he said, now, I know some of you out there is on this kumbaya. It's like there are 9 systems, 10 if you count the skin, systems of the body. And each system has its own function. So there's a system in this whole human family or this body that is designed to do this. There's another system that's designed to do that. And all are equally important. So when we talk about aligning your energy with the energy of the universe, and then also having to understand and know or be clear on how your particular energy moves, you have to be true to that. You have to be true to yourself. So being willing to understand that or be clear on that, and also accept that and be okay with that. I don't know if there are any more questions out there. I think I've talked for almost 30 minutes. We have some really good questions. Some very, very good questions. If you're out there and you have questions, please ask me. Other than that, for those who may want to know, I can briefly go into the 10 bodies. I'm going to read through those, the 10 bodies. I want to talk about that for a moment. I want to talk about releasing the pain instead, because it's not necessary for me to go through the 10 bodies of Kundalini yoga. That's if I happen to work with you one-on-one, we can go through and deal with that. But I want to talk about how to release the pain, because so many people are in pain. And they're not just in pain with what's going on now in the moment. They're in pain. The majority of people are in pain because of the pain of the past. And they haven't been able to let that go. They've been stuck. And so one of the ways you can look for pain is, first of all, you look at the situation non-judgmentally. And I know that's very difficult to do. You have to look at the situation and look at yourself in a non-judgmental way, that you handle the pain maybe through comforting yourself through food, through sex, through drugs, or what have you. Be non-judgmental in that. You handled it the best way that you could at that moment prior to new information coming to you. And then you have to give yourself permission to feel the pain. Remember I talked about a few moments ago of allowing yourself to feel the pain, because you can't heal something that you can't feel. And so allow yourself to feel the pain. And when you feel it, it's only then that you can actually heal it. So give yourself permission to feel it and then release it. Shake it off. You can stomp your feet. You can shake it off. You can dance. You can cry. You can kick. You can scream. But release it. Whatever you do, shake it off and release it. Because once that pain comes from the subconscious to the conscious level, or you may not be conscious of it. There's a type of healing modality or body work that a person can do. I did some of it today on a client, but there's certain points in the body that holds pain and trauma from the past. And you can press on these points to help release the pain. And sometimes you're not even aware that the pain, that trauma is still there. You're not even aware that you're still holding on to that. And it's not until sometimes you press on those points and then that memory will come back up. So once you have that memory that comes to your conscious awareness, then you're able to actually deal with it. You're able to look at it in a non-judgmental way. Then you're able to give yourself permission to feel it. It's come up. It's come right up. Now feel it. And then you're able to actually release it. You can shake it off. And then you have to forgive yourself. Forgiveness is a big thing. You may have numbed yourself to the pain before, and so there was a block, which also caused a block in your energy centers. But now that it's come up, you releasing it, you can forgive it. And then you have to give yourself time to heal. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey. And sometimes that journey may take a lifetime. But I will tell you, there's magic in the process. There's miracles in the process. And so just allow yourself to feel it. So again, just very briefly, the 7 energy centers, and this is for, I think his name is Kenny from last night. He wanted me to talk about the chakras. Well, I don't want to just talk about the chakras, because when you talk about energy, it's more than the chakras. So just briefly, really quickly, I want to go through the different energy centers. And when you are having issues or different things going on in your life, a lot of times that's corresponding with these different energy centers in your body. And going through a process, working with a healer, whether they're doing clearings or what have you, they can help you to release that. And you have the crown chakra, you have the third eye or the ajna, you have the throat chakra, the heart chakra, which is a big one. A lot of times, if you can open the heart chakra first, that will help in terms of helping to open up all the other chakras. And you have the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. And those are the 7 major ones. So what I would like to do, if you would like to talk with me one-on-one, and maybe you have a challenge, or maybe you just want to talk, or you want to ask a question, please contact me at Dr. Atiya at dratiyajones.com. And thank you so very much for listening. And again, my website is www.dratiyajones.com. And oh, you can visit me on my YouTube channel. I have a little mouse in the background. A little birdie is telling me what to say. So in terms of my website, again, my email address is dratiya at dratiyajones.com. My website is www.dratiyajones.com. Visit me on my YouTube channel, my Instagram, which I'm just getting started on, and Pinterest. I'm out on social media, Twitter. You can contact me. I'm more than happy to help in any way I can. So thank you so much for joining me. And I hope this has helped you in some way. Thank you. So again, I want to remind you, I have one more night tomorrow night. Email me if there's something specific that you want me to talk about. Email me or send me a Facebook message and let me know if there's something that you want me to talk about, that you feel that I can help you. I would really love to have a question and answer tomorrow rather than me just talking. I would really, really rather have people come tomorrow at 8:30 UK time. That would be 6 hours earlier if you're in Central Standard Time, 5 hours earlier in Eastern time, and Pacific time would be 8 hours earlier than that. So I would really love to hear a question and answer. And if you're not going to be able to ask the question live, then email me the question or send me the question through Facebook, and then I'll be more than happy to talk about that when I come back on tomorrow night. So again, thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you.